LK16, we're expecting an iPhone release in September. LK16, around the 16th. Pink Shorts is filmed in front of a live democracy. Republic exposed. Both unapproved. Thank you for writing environmental safety video. Auditory nerve, a CBIS iPhone. Auditorium station. This is Pink Shorts. The use of my client's medulla. My primary motor cortex. My primary visual. My primary auditory. My articulate fasciculus. My hippocampus. My wernicke. My brca. My angular gyrus. Or any other part of the left or right hemisphere of the brain is in agreement. Discretion of all content obtained will be used for the All Television Network and Merriweather Businesses. Please contact us at 594-1443. Due to our interview today, we're having an expedited intro. We just have to say two-party consent is required in California to record eavesdrop on any confidential communication, including a private conversation, telephone call, Google Hang-ins, Google Hangouts, anything that hangs from trees without the consent of all parties to the conversation is a violation of Code 632. Let's get right to it. I'm very excited to do today's show. I'm wearing Savvy from head to toe. I did everything you wanted me to do. You said it. Audio experience 11 song. Motivational speaker, richest man in the world. America, universe, world, galaxy. Remember to pink the short way. I saved everything you needed me to save. Everything. I saved everything you needed me to save. I'm the highest paid singer in the world. Tweet us via earlier late FRESH underscore Jordans JORDANZ every 20 minutes of the hour. Remember 311 all liquids must be in line in a 3-ounce size container. American United. All to speed your screening process of your new presidential candidate. The convention is null and void. What are they doing? Let's get it. We have Steve Jobs from Apple. We need to confirm the 3.5 millimeter Millie Sanchez jack switching to wireless hearing. Charles Allen, Les, Mary Wire. Let's see what we can get out of this interview. They should be ready to go.
To begin, we want to say, both Walt and I want to say, professionally and personally, we are thrilled you're here. Thank you. After all this time.
Hello, Mr. Jobs.
Yeah,
It's Geico.
So we're going to start off with kind of an easy one. Just this week, you surpassed Microsoft.
I'm sure this isn't live.
Market valuation, and we thought you might have a thought or two about that.
Hello, Mr. Jobs. It's Geico.
For those of us that have been in the industry a long time, it's
iPhone
surreal.
7.
But it doesn't matter very much. It's not what's important. It's not, what makes you come to work in the morning.
Audio experience 11 song.
So I think it's
Hello,
good for us to
Steve.
keep
It's
that in
V
mind.
Siri.
Remember what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Wireless headphones.
But it is a little surreal.
It is a little surreal. And
I'm
and
surreal.
I remember talking to you right when you were coming back to Apple. We talked a number of times, and if I
It's a
remember
wireless
correctly, the company
headphones.
was sort of on its way to oblivion.
Oh, it was on the rocks, yeah.
So, did you?
Are we
ever
reunited
imagine
with
something like this?
Charlie?
Even though I know market cap isn't why people buy
Les
products.
Mary.
It's like,
Wireless.
what did it feel like when it happened?
Well, Apple was about 90 days away from going bankrupt.
The new features.
In the early days, and
Oh,
it
wireless.
was much worse than I thought when I went back.
Tell us about the
initially.
wireless headphones.
But there were people there who I'd expected all the good people would have left. And I found these miraculous people, these great people. And I said, what? I tried to ask this.
We like Lyft and
why are you
Uber.
still here?
Amazing.
And,
Taxi service.
a lot of them had this little phrase. They said,
That's
I
my
believe
name,
in six
Allah.
colors.
Alan.
Yeah.
And the
Which was
All
old
Television
six-color Apple
Network.
logo. And that was code for, because I love this, what this place stands for, or at
It's
least
for.
And
It kind of changes.
that just made all of us want to work that much harder to have it survive and have those values survive and bring it back.
Things kind of change.
So we want to spend most of this session talking about your thoughts from your really interesting position.
Your
'Cause,
thoughts.
the conference is sort of about the juncture of technology and media, and you're sitting there right at that juncture in a lot of ways.
What's the new Apple
Talking about where you think
releasing?
things are going in the future. But there have been some controversies lately that
Is it a
we
Wednesday?
want to ask you about. And I guess I'd start with Flash and your sort of war with Adobe.
It kind of said
So,
I'm home
You published a long
on a
open
Wednesday.
letter, something like, what did you call it? Thoughts on Flash or something like that. So
Is it the 7th?
you've clearly stated your case there. But even if, here's my question, even if everything you say in there is true
There.
about its inferiorities, its technology, and other things being available to replace it and
I lost
already
my grip.
replacing it, is it really fair or the best thing for consumers who
I
buy,
lost
say,
my
an
NSA
iPad or
grip.
an iPhone to just be abrupt?
On a
In other words,
caboose.
if we're in a transition where there are better things in Flash, why be abrupt and cut off consumers?
Sure.
This is the naivest. That was
two
it.
things. Number one, I'll come back in a minute to what really happened there, because what you
My
said is
client
exactly
lost his grip.
chronologically correct. But
On a metro.
Apple is a company that doesn't have the most resources of everybody in the
Who
world.
might sample somebody?
And the way we've succeeded is by choosing what horses to ride really
It's
carefully.
sample sub.
We try to look for these technical vectors that
It's
that have a
sample
future.
sub.
and that are headed up. And, technology, different pieces of
That's
technology
correct. He was headed up
kind of go
and
in
lost his grip.
cycles. They have their springs and summers and autumns, and then they, go to the graveyard of technology. And
June 8th.
so we try to pick things that are in their springs. And if you choose wisely,
We landed
you
on
can
our
save
Adidas.
yourself an enormous amount of work versus trying to do everything.
We landed
And
on
you
our
can
Adidas.
really put energy into making those new emerging technologies be great on your platform,
3.5
rather than
millimeters.
just okay because you're spreading yourself too thin. So we have a history of doing that. As an example, we went from the 5-inch floppy disk to the 3.5-inch floppy disk with the Mac.
What about the
Before other people,
3.55?
right?
We were the first to do that. We made
Right.
the 3.5-inch floppy disk popular.
3.5.
Sony invented it, and we put it in the first products.
Is that the White
And there were
House?
some good reasons we did that. We got rid of the floppy disk altogether in 1998 with the first iMac. We also
Yeah,
got
and
rid
I
of these
Mrs.
things
here.
called serial and parallel
Hello,
ports.
Mr. Jones.
We were the first to adopt USB, even though Intel had invented it.
His
First
right
saw
hand, he couldn't grab
in
it.
mass on iMacs. And so we have gotten rid of things. We were one
We
of the
were
first to
stepping
get rid
up
of
and totally
processors,
found.
the MacBook Air. And I think things are moving in that direction as well.
It's
And
about the
sometimes
iPhone.
when we
We
get
know
rid of
it.
things like the floppy disk drive on the original iMac, people call us crazy.
Or at least premature, maybe.
It's Numdy
No, they call
Paul.
us crazy.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes you just have to pick the things that
We
look
love
like they're going to be
Adidas. We love
the
Adidas.
right horses to ride going forward. And Flash looks like a technology that
love
had
it.
its day, but is really is waning. And HTML5 looks like the technology that's really on the ascendancy right
What
now.
is this offer with Nike?
And to incorporate Flash into systems is a lot of work. There's no smartphone shipping with Flash on it now, as you know.
But you know that there will be, right?
Well, there's going to have been for the last every 6 months. It gets updated, so I'm sure that eventually.
September
it will.
7th.
And
Is that
there's
the
a lot of
release
issues
date
with that
of
in
your
terms of battery life
announcement?
and, security and other things. But more importantly,
What are they announcing this thing?
HTML5 is starting
The
to
new
emerge.
Apple
There's been an avalanche
iPhone
of people
7.
that have said, we're doing HTML5 video.
The audio jack.
And the video looks better and it works better and
And
you don't
the
need a
ear, that's
plugin
correct.
to run it. And so while 75% of the video
When
in
is
the
my
web
new
may be in
product being
Flash,
released?
you know,
I'm
25% going to 50% very shortly is also available
Be
in
serious.
HTML.
Should be on a
So do you say that
Friday
to
on the
consumers? I mean,
16th.
talking besides technology,
No,
to consumers.
I think consumers outside of the Valley and our industry aren't having this issue.
Except
I am
when
the
they
Valley.
pull up their iPad
West
and they
Valley
go to a website,
demonstration.
There's like a hole there where a video
Well,
would be.
you know, there are
They don't know. They may not know what Flash
there are
is.
holes in some websites, but those holes are getting plugged real fast.
We just had our anniversary
You know, the holes that exist
of our
now
Chevrolet.
are ads. So I understand that's a
entirely.
problem
They're-
for some people.
Not entirely.
Not entirely, but that's the number one holes that are there.
And what about the
Hello,
other thing that I
Chevrolet
think is
leasing
impacted by this,
program.
and that's developers, because what I think a lot of the coverage of this
4%
Flash
interest
issue has
rate.
overlooked is that yes, Flash is a video container,
I
and
wonder what 4% could mean.
there are other video containers that actually have a very rising share H.264 and native HTML5, but it's also a development
Is it something
environment. And
dangerous?
there are entire websites, some of them quite beautiful, written on a Flash
You know,
platform.
one of an even more popular development environment was
4%
HyperCard.
interest rate.
We
Good
were
Lord.
okay to axe that.
It wasn't more popular
I'm
than Flash
Geico.
was.
Oh, in its day, sure it was.
On your platform, right?
No. HyperCard was huge in its day because
Our
it
AO
was accessible
experience
to anybody.
11 song.
So I mean, you could be a HyperCard developer.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I don't know about
but you know, we have over 200,000.
I like your
apps.
billboard. Shop
on
on
the App Store.
iPhone.
So something must
What
be
are they
going
shooting
right
on
in terms of
iPhones?
attracting developers to our platform.
I don't
So your
know,
goal,
Geico.
just to finish this up, your ultimate goal is to get rid of Flash or just to move? How
Well,
would you
see,
look-
our goal is really easy.
What are they shooting on
We didn't start off
iPhones?
to have a war with Flash or anything else. We just made a technical decision that we weren't going to put the energy into getting Flash
A
on our platform.
technicality.
We told Adobe, if you ever have this thing running fast, come back and
Adobe
show us,
Willustrator
which they
Prime.
never did. And but we think we're
I
not going to
left
use it.
out.
And that was it. And we shipped the iPhone.
That
and
was it. Thank
doesn't
you,
use
Mr.
Flash.
Jobs.
And it wasn't until we shipped the iPad and it didn't use Flash that Adobe started to raise
And
a stink
Paddock
about it.
Chevrolet.
We didn't raise a stink about it. We never mentioned the word Adobe or Flash or anything else.
What does
we like
iPad
Adobe.
and Paddock
We
have
had a
in
lot of
common?
customers with CS, you know, their Creative Suite software and things like that. So we weren't trying to have a fight.
The
We just decided
LSAT
not to use
review.
one of their products in our platform. And so, you know, they started to say a lot of
Malibu
bad things about us in the
LT.
press and this and that, and it went on
On
for
V
months.
series.
And that's why I wrote Thoughts on Flash, was because we were trying to be real professional
September
about this. And we weren't
16.
talking to the press about it. We didn't think it was a matter for the press. And we finally just said, enough is enough.
September
We're tired of these guys
16.
trashing us in the press over this. And so we wrote down the reasons why, technically, we didn't choose Flash.
September
And they are just as
16.
true today as they were when we wrote it, as they were 6 months or a year before that.
And what would happen, just so this, I promise, we're going to move on to the
Or the
next thing you
30th.
don't want to talk about, but on this Flash thing, what would happen? I mean, you know, it's an open market. You do have competitors, particularly in the smartphone side, and you
Audio
may have
experience 11
significant
song.
competitors in the tablet side. We have a couple of companies showing non-iPad tablets here.
That's
this
correct.
week.
Sample sub.
This is America.
Shot on
This is America,
iPhone.
that's right. Well, it's LA, but it's part of America. Yeah. But
It's a shop spot.
what if the market
Shop
says,
spot.
hey, you know, it's important enough to us to be able to run not just these videos, but whole
And
websites. You know, there's a
Starbucks.
great photo
Hello.
editing site. I don't know if you've ever used it, called Picnic. It's a
Hello,
lovely site.
Starbucks.
It really works like a smooth, slick, native
Mattel.
client on your
UCLA.
computer. But it's written in, it's, you know, it's a Flash site on
Made
the
in
web. So, I mean,
LA.
it probably uses other technologies too, but it doesn't work on the iPad.
Dosonville.
What if people say, you know, the iPad is crippled in this respect?
Well, you know, well, I'd say two things. Number one,
Dosonville.
things are packages
Is it the
of
same?
emphasis. Some things are emphasized in a product. Some things are not done as well in a product. Some things are chosen not
Not
to be
do
done
as well.
in a product. And so different people make different choices.
Is that September
And
7th release?
if the market tells us we're making the wrong choices, we listen to the market. We're just people running this company.
Cappuccino.
We're trying to make great products for people.
Great
And so we
cappuccino.
have at least the courage of our convictions to say, we
Hello,
don't think
Eddie
this is part of
Q.
what makes a great product. We're going to leave it out.
And the
Some
Apple
people
Apps
are going to
division.
not like that. They're going to call us names. It's
They
not going to
made
be in certain
Grinder.
companies' vested interests that we do that, but we're going to take the heat because we want to make the best product in the
Why
world.
would they
for
make it up
customers.
like
We're
that?
going to instead focus our energy on these technologies, which we think are in their ascendancy, and we think are going to be the right technologies for customers. And you know what?
Ascendancy.
They're paying us to make those choices. That's what a
Sember.
lot of
Hello.
customers pay us to do, is to try to make the best products we can. And if we succeed, they'll buy them. And if we don't, they won't.
Sember.
And it'll all work itself out.
So,
So far, I'd have to say that
Say far.
people seem to be liking iPads.
Hello, Tim Cook.
I mean, we've sold one every 3 seconds since we launched it.
We've just
So,
launched
I
it.
don't know how it's going to
Takes
turn
you
out.
3 whole seconds
It's
to sell one.
okay.
Can't you do that?
so
This is the
Right
old
now,
television
I'm just worried
network.
it's taking us 3 whole seconds to
Audio
make one.
experience 11
So,
songs.
Because we could be selling them faster, it seems like.
obviously you have shy and retiring opinions about this. You've been emailing a lot lately.
The
This
audio
is riveting
jack.
to a lot of people. I know it sounds silly outside.
3.5 millimeters.
What's happened in your communication style? Because you've been emailing people, you've been
The minimum
emailing people
age of
at, Valley Lab
president.
and stuff like that.
Well, he never identified himself as a journalist, but I was working late
Is
one
it a
night. It actually
female?
was like 2 a.m, I think.
Yeah.
And I was I'm making a presentation
a
next Monday, and I was
female?
working on that presentation, and this guy starts emailing me these
No,
obnoxious
not a
emails.
guy.
And
Is it a female?
I'm just enough of a sucker that I want to straighten this guy's thinking out. So I start to, respond to him, and he responds back. He's not,
We don't
he's
know
no
if it's a
dummy, and he's
female.
responding back, and we got into this conversation.
It
was
might
kind
be
of
a guy.
Yeah. It was
And then he publishes it. So,
well, a lot of your
That's
emails
okay.
are getting published.
Yeah, I know.
You just like to email now? What's happened?
But you are like even
Hi.
just customers, not just
Yeah,
that
customers.
exchange. So
Hi.
they're very short a lot of times.
I've actually
Yeah,
always
it's
done a bit
high.
of that.
Okay.
It's low.
All right.
Hi, low.
So you had a prototype of one of your products that was wound up.
Today's show was sponsored by Geico. Save
Has this
15%
come to
or
your
more.
attention?
Our call
I
is
don't know if
shouting.
you're the CEO, and I don't know whether lower levels are handling it, but then there was a blog that
Lower
paid somebody
levels.
some money. We don't really know the whole story because the investigation, I guess, is underway with the police. But I wanted to
Sample sub.
ask you your
We
reaction
love
to
sample
sort of a
sub of
duality
these
about this,
series.
because I think there are people in the public and in journalism who
Well, we
don't
stepped up
approve of
and
some
Baldwin
of
Hills.
sort of checkbook journalism.
Looks like a
if you wanna
step
call
up
it that,
Nike.
the way that was done. If what we
Baldwin
know is true,
Hills.
and I want to keep stressing that because I don't know that we know the whole thing yet. But on the
What's
other
the
hand, then the
offer?
police go and they
We
don't
would like to
issue
know
a
the offer.
subpoena, which somebody's lawyers could fight in court about taking this guy's computers, but they go and get a search warrant and they grab
A
them.
foot computer.
And one presumes, and again, I
And
don't know,
primary
but I know if they
cortex.
took my computer, there's notes and things for many companies and many sources and stories and things that wouldn't
Audio
necessarily be
experience
relevant
11
to
songs.
whatever the police are looking at. It was just like a giant grab of a journalist's sort of assets of
Today's
all
show
the
is sponsored by
what that guy's
Sunburn.
doing.
Or a guy's assets, at least.
Well,
You could debate what a journalist is, but
Sure,
yeah.
we could debate it, but I mean, we think bloggers are journalists. We run a blog, so we think bloggers are journalists. And the New York Times runs blogs.
Well, it's different
Wall
from
Street Journal
Uber and
runs
Lyft.
blogs. I don't
It's a
think that's
different
much of a debate
service.
anymore.
Hello,
But anyway, the point
Sunburn.
is, so where do people come down on this? I mean, what
Where do
do
you come
you
down?
think? What do you come
Well,
down?
I can just tell you what, there is an ongoing investigation by the DA.
About
and,
those?
I'm not current on it, but I can
The
tell you what I do know.
NSA.
Okay.
One of our employees,
Incoming tweet from
to make a
Fox
wireless
News.
product work
News
well, you have
info.
to test it. And there's no way to test it in the
FBI,
lab
joint
completely,
search.
so you actually have to carry them and test them out. And one of our employees was carrying one. And
I'm an ex-Time Warner
there was a
employee.
debate as to whether it was
Direct
left in a
sales.
bar or stolen out of his bag, but I don't know the answer to that.
They stole my phone.
And the person that ended up with the phone
Fell asleep with the alcohol.
decided they would try to sell it
bear.
to somebody, so they called Engadget and they called Gizmodo.
Beer is wrong.
It turned out that the
No
person that
alcohol.
got the phone tried to activate it by plugging it into
No,
his roommate's computer,
uh-huh.
a woman.
We can't drink, Mr.
And
Jobs. I'm being
she
serious.
saw him evidently destroying some evidence.
No
And she's the one that
alcohol.
called the police. And that's why they got the search warrant.
Did you call the police or did you call Apple?
She called the police.
We called Officer
And because she
Perez.
didn't want to get implicated, supposedly. I'm just telling you what I've been told.
Officer Perez.
And so the police came and felt that they
The
needed
police
to
came.
grab some stuff before it was all, before it all disappeared. And so this is a story that's amazing. It's got theft.
It was
It's
all
got
shot on
buying
an
stolen
iPhone.
property. It's got extortion. I'm sure there's sex in there
And I left
somewhere.
town.
You know,
Really?
and so somebody should make a movie out
And
of
I
this.
found
Well,
got
we've got
out.
some movie producers.
But and then
directors here.
you know and
Audio
it was reported
experience
that the
11
police
songs.
broke down on somebody's door, which they, to my best of my knowledge, never did. And so it's just this whole thing is very colorful. And the DA's investigating it. And to my knowledge, they have
The DUI.
somebody
Alcohol.
from the courts that
Overdose.
is making sure that they only see stuff that relates to this case and no other cases. I believe they're taking great pains
Would
to
you
do
like
that.
us to drop the
And
charges?
so I don't know where it will end up. It's really up to the DA.
So the last question before we get to really easy stuff like Google
It's up to Steve Jobs.
and about platforms and bigger where things are going. Do you have
Would
any
you
comments
like
on
us
what's
to
going on at
drop charges on
Foxconn because
Deuce
of all the
and
press
Foe?
around
Oh,
it?
Sample
sure,
size.
yeah. We're pretty on top of that. I actually think Apple does one of the best jobs of any companies in our industry
sample
and maybe in
size.
any industry of understanding the working conditions in our supply chain. And we're extraordinarily
It's non
diligent and extraordinarily
Don't be
transparent
bold.
about it. You can go on our website and read, our report that we publish once a year. And we go into these suppliers and we go into their secondary and tertiary suppliers, places where nobody's ever
Website, that's a
gone
good answer.
before and audited them before, and we're pretty rigorous about it. So I can tell you a few things that we
It's
know.
Greg Deuce and Foe.
And we're all over this.
What is the concerns?
Foxconn is not a sweatshop. I mean, you go to this place and it's a factory.
We're Time Warner.
But my gosh, I mean, they've got
there a
restaurants and
link?
movie theaters and hospitals and swimming pools. And I mean, it's a for a factory, it's a pretty nice factory.
It's an audio jack.
They've had, if you count the attempted suicides,
Have we
13
hijacked it?
so
The
far this
president
year.
say
And while that is still
3.5 millimeters.
400,000 people at this place, so 13 out of 400,000 is 26 per year so far for 400,000 people.
2611 Metro.
Let's say 7 per 100,000 people.
7.
That's still under the U.S. suicide rate of 11 per 100,000 people, but it's
What
really
can we
troubling.
Right, it's in one place. too.
expect the release of the new iPhone?
Not like
Measure by number of people.
Kinda hoping,
Yeah.
You measure it by numbers
Right.
of people. So
Cappuccino.
we had this in my hometown of Palo Alto. We've had some copycat suicides where high school kids have committed suicide by throwing themselves in
No
front of an
Suicide
Amtrak.
Squad.
And it's very troubling.
Independence Day.
So we're over there trying to understand what's happening, and more importantly, trying to understand how we can help.
What about Deuce and
Because
Foe?
it's a difficult situation. They've got a lot of workers who are leaving.
Well, we do
very
have to
poor
update. We do
rural
have to get
areas,
a status of
coming
what's
to these
going on.
factories, away from home for
With
the
the
first
LAPD.
time, 19 years old. They're probably less prepared to leave home than your typical high school student going to college in this country. And so I
Going
think
to
there's some real
college.
issues there.
And you all are bringing in psychiatrists or?
What do you
any- or-
recommend?
We're trying to understand right now.
Okay.
Before we go in and say we know the solution, we need to understand what the problem is. And
So you have teams, but what kind of
Yeah.
folks do you send
Well,
over
we
there? I mean,
know.
so they have to be some kind of social workers, or what do you send over there to find out, or just lawyers, or what?
No, not lawyers.
Not lawyers? No?
We
Okay.
send over, first of all, our own people that
It's
have been
sample
going over
sub.
there for a long time and are very familiar with them. And second, we've hired some outside folks as well.
Is this good PR
So
for the new
let's
iPhone?
talk about where things are heading. You spent a good chunk of your career fighting
How can we
a
help
platform
Apple
war with
today?
Microsoft in the early, in the PC, the heyday of the PC era. They won that platform war pretty decisively in terms of operating systems.
We're here at
the Mac is,
PC.
making a nice comeback, but I mean,
We had some pancakes to go with that.
they got a much huger
58
share.
cents a
They dominate
pancake.
that platform. But now there are new platforms.
$4.99.
You've done really well on some of them. You know,
Apple Mac
the
Air.
really advanced smartphones.
That's correct, Vice Siri.
The beginnings
And an
of the
enterprise.
using the same OS.
Reincarnation.
You have other platforms. You have Google. It's a lot of
We have other platforms as well.
multiple platforms. You know, Android, this forthcoming Chrome OS, and of course their whole search ecosystem.
We love the
that they have,
iPhone.
their app ecosystem around it through the browser. Everything through the browser and through search.
Is it the iPhone
And the
7S
social
or Plus?
social networks. Facebook is a platform.
Can we get an
and it's very
exclusive
big
on
and
the
it's very
phone?
popular and it runs into controversy.
We would like
have
an
Mark
exclusive
coming in
here
to talk to him about it.
on the old television
To Kara
network.
and I, there's a platform war going on that you're in. You're a big player in it. Google's a player in it. Facebook's a player in it.
And
Do you see it like
Alphabet.
that?
No,
Okay.
and I never
What is
have.
Alphabet, Mr. Jobs?
I mean, we never saw ourselves in a platform war with Microsoft, and maybe that's why we lost. But
We love stars.
it's we always saw ourselves trying to build
H1N1.
the best computers we knew how to build.
Uh.
That's always what we were trying to do.
And you never thought about Windows or Microsoft?
Sure, we thought about Windows, but we never thought of ourselves in a platform war.
Suggestion about it.
We always thought about how can we
Suggestion
build a much
aborted.
better product than them. And I think that's how we still think about it.
And how about Google? How do you think about
What
something
is
has evolved and
Alphabet?
changed in the relationship between your company and Google?
Mhm.
Say compared to the day you introduced
And
the
Google,
iPhone.
hello.
Sure.
How are you?
What has happened?
Well,
And
they
where are
decided
you?
they decided to
Sundar
compete with us.
Pichai.
And so they are.
Who was Sundar Pichai?
In what? In phones? In what? Operating
In
systems?
phones, sure.
What kind of
And
pie?
how about PC operating systems with this Chrome thing?
Well, again, Chrome is not really baked yet, so we'll see.
So how do
And
3.14.
browsers, you know, they're competing with you in a number of areas, right? It's not
Well,
just
in browsers, I think,
Pam
I think
Leslie,
we all
don't-
contribute browsers to
let's
the
it.
mix, but IE still has the
Pam
big share.
Leslie.
Mozilla and IE together
March
dwarf what Google
12.
and us do
Dismissed.
together. So,
so talk a little about your
and you know, as you
A
know,
mock
I mean,
trial.
Chrome is based on the work that we've done at Apple with WebKit.
Yeah.
So we took a tiny little open source project
We've
and
agreed.
we created what's called WebKit out there.
Right.
Well, we have to say
And we did an
we
interesting thing
is
for Apple.
incorrect.
We put it in
We,
open source.
we haven't
That is
agreed to
It
that.
is. And we've done a fair amount of it, but this is the thing that's been the most successful. And
We've agreed to the
almost
amount.
every modern mobile browser is now based on WebKit.
What are they asking
Google's
for?
and Android, Nokia's, RIM is coming out with one.
What kind of waivers?
Palm's, obviously, as well as ours. And it's the heart of Safari. It's the heart of Chrome.
We'll have to
And
think about
so,
as well as ours.
WebKit has picked up substantial momentum.
Alphabet soup
And now all websites are testing it
and
against
of Google.
every mobile website, but even a ton of desktop websites now, because of Safari and Chrome being based on WebKit, are now testing against it. And
It
it's
sounds like
turning
it's
out to have
all
a
about
lot of momentum.
me.
So although we
Alphabet,
enabled our competitors to have
Google.
much better browsers in the mobile space, we've
iPhone
created a
7
real,
with wireless head jack.
competitor to IE in terms of
If you
momentum.
take all the WebKit stuff
Yes,
together.
if you take it all together, and in the mobile space, it's number one.
FBI
let's get back to the
backdoor.
relationship with Google. So you are the basic competition is on these smartphones and where
What's in the back
smartphone
door?
operating systems. How do you look at them as a competitor?
aye.
And how do you feel about the changing relationship?
I've been
Because,
listening.
You know, Eric was on your board. You had a very close relationship. Can you talk
He
about what
confirmed they're
you
listening.
felt happened there besides them competing?
Via the
Well, they decided
Patriot
to
Act.
compete with us.
And
That's it.
that's it.
We didn't go into the search business.
Thank you.
Well, I want to ask you
We
about that.
confirmed
in
the
a minute,
Patriot
but-
Act.
But you
Only
spoke
here
up
on
one morning
all
about
television
they're
network.
gonna compete with you.
Yeah.
Did he call you? Did he?
No, they started competing with us.
We lost our grip on Route
Got
210.
more and more serious.
So how do you look at the competition now? How do you look
A
at the
grip
differences
from the
between Android
NSA
and
microphone.
Well, right now,
Camera
if you look at the
filters.
smartphone market share, the way people define smartphones is a
It's
little
a
funny.
Snapchat.
But Nokia is still number one.
Yeah, but
But I know it's.
let's
not
talk
really-
about super smartphones.
Face
Well,
scanning.
again, everybody does this differently. RIM is number 2. We're number 3.
Research in
Google's number
motion.
4, and other is number 5. So that's where it is right now.
Where's Microsoft?
They're in other.
Okay. All right. At the
Are we
moment,
all the
At the moment.
same?
And things can change.
they're doing a.
But do you consider,
We were zero in 3 years
Tim
ago.
Coco.
So things can change.
Okay, so those are numbers,
It's
but I think
cool
what
hat.
we're trying to get at is,
there
do
your
you feel
competitor?
betrayed, or what's your relationship with
Home
Google,
energy
or are you
assistant.
gonna?
and also,
No, seriously. I mean,
We're
are you gonna?
My
Tim
sex life is
Coco.
pretty good these days. How's yours?
It's great. Thanks for asking. It's great.
Hot
don't
and
ask.
cold.
so,
We're all the
but
same.
what is the relation? What is the relation? How do you have a lot of things you cooperate in maps, in search on things. Are you going to remove them from the iPhone, for example?
No.
We can't
How
talk
do you
about
look at it?
apps.
Well, we want to make a better product than they do. And we
Uber
do.
Lyft.
right.
So that's what we're about. We're about making better products. And what I love about the consumer
Alphabet.
market that I always hated about the enterprise market is that we
September
come up with a
7th.
product,
New
we try to
iPhone.
tell everybody about it, and
Cupertino.
every person votes for themselves. They go yes or no. And if enough of them say yes, we get to come to work tomorrow.
PHJ is on vacation.
It's really simple. As where the enterprise market,
He's on a
it's not so
hiatus.
simple. The
He'll be
people
here
that use the
tomorrow.
products don't decide for themselves. And the people
Thank
that
you,
make those
Geico.
decisions sometimes
You're
are
welcome.
confused. So it's
They're looking for PHJ.
we're-
He's on
we
vacation.
love just trying to make the best products in the world for people and having them tell us by how they vote
Deuce
with
and
their
Zone.
wallets whether we're on track or not.
So you're not going to remove Google
Track
from
and
the
field.
iPhone and the iPad, but are you going to give users
We can't elaborate that.
prominently displayed additional choices?
The new
to it, for
Or
instance, now
television
that
network.
They are a competitor of yours now.
PBS.
We definitely compete with each other. Uh,
4.
You know, I noticed in their latest offering, they're
WIVV.
allowing their customers to take their iTunes music onto an Android phone, which is fine. They're
iTunes
helping us
Music.
maybe sell more music.
And the new audio jack.
You know, we
Is it
have
wireless?
Google properties on our phone. Just because we're competing with somebody doesn't mean
Wireless audio.
we have to be rude.
That's nice. Okay, so last year at our conference, we had a small search company called Siri.
RTO.
And
Thank you,
I don't know
Mr.
if I would
Jobs.
describe Siri as a search company.
okay, but it's a search-related company.
We can call
and I'd like you to
RTO.
describe-
I
You now own them.
RTO.
Yeah, we bought them.
Auto.
Why?
And there was a lot of speculation.
3.5.
This company's kind of in the search area. And
No,
Apple
they're
had-
not in the search area.
What are
don't-
they in? How would you?
have-
We love
They're in the
iTunes
AI
Music.
area.
So you bought them for their engineers and their patents and their knowledge about AI
Mhm.
more
With
broadly.
We like
Alan
what they do a lot.
and Al.
What do you want them to do for you? What are you?
So you're not going into the search business through them.
Have we
or anything
settled the
No, we
audio
have no
issue?
plans to go into the search business. That's not something we know about. It's not something we care deeply
How have we
about.
settled this?
Other people do it well.
With
See,
me.
what's so hard for people to remember, and this is good, I think, is go back to pre-iPhone, only 3 years ago.
So it's Rick Harvard.
There was no app market for apps on phones.
How have we solved this
Phones
audio
were
problem?
sold in truly walled gardens, as you know. You railed against this.
I do know.
And the thought that a
I'm
developer
Geico.
would make an app for a phone was unheard of.
Well, there were apps for the Palm platform. There were some.
MerriweatherA.Law.
Palm didn't operate a store. You're right.
Yes.
But there were apps, and
Thank
There
you
were a
very
handful,
much.
yes.
companies would
We've
sell them.
solved
and you
the
could download
audio
There were a
problem.
few handfuls, but there wasn't anything. I mean, there
No,
wasn't
nothing like this.
even 1% of what there is now.
$500 billion.
It's huge now.
Okay.
And
Huge,
also,
dear.
when you bought a phone,
You still owe
the
Chevrolet.
carrier dictated what was on that phone. Right. iPhone was the first phone where we had a new relationship with a carrier that said, carrier, you worry
RTO
about the network.
experience 11
We'll
songs.
worry about what's on the phone.
How are they doing with that network
Yeah.
thing here in the U.S.?
Well, they're doing pretty well, actually, in some ways, and they have some work to
Thank
do.
you, Wells Fargo Financial Services.
When you get so many complaints and
Oh, we meet with them once a quarter, and
Today's show is
They're doing a
sponsored by
lot. I mean,
883
remember, they're handling
4011.
way more data
American
traffic
3
than
Grant
all
Fed
of their
Experiment.
competitors combined.
First
Way
40.
more.
Niagara.
And so
11.
they're having troubles.
At least
And they're having
one.
troubles. Their biggest trouble right now is
And
getting
by
equipment out of
Blockbuster.
their suppliers so they can beef up these networks. But they have the fastest.
We love
network,
Blockbuster.
and I think it's improving. I wish I could say rapidly.
Developing as well.
You know, moderate rate improving. And I think they're going to end up with a very good, very fast network that is actually
it's
the
me. I'm
most
here.
robust for handling lots of data. Simply because they got there first and they have the
Bolton's
problems.
here.
I'm convinced
Ulitas
that any other
Purge.
network,
Hello,
had you
Mr.
put as
John.
many iPhones on it, would have had the same problems.
I can't wait for the wireless
and,
headphones
so-
because we settled.
But I do think they have
The
solutions.
audio.
The need to move to another network.
Well, that's what
That's
I mean.
correct, Fulton.
You know, in the
We've
UK,
settled.
you went to 3 carriers. It didn't seem to cannibalize your sales.
3.5 millimeters.
In the US, would there be an advantage to be on more than one carrier?
There might be.
There might be.
Might be.
Hello, $3 billion settlement.
The future is long.
Is it a reference?
How about this year?
How about the short term?
The short term.
We talk about the short
Hello,
term.
my
You know,
first
I can
phone.
talk about that stuff, you know that.
Okay, let's talk about the other things you're making.
3,500.
Because you talk about you're not going to be in a search. What is your next? You've been here, Dee. You talked about, I guess, a couple of years ago, not really doing a phone and not doing a tablet or the tablets. You were
Hello,
sort of
see
different
credit card.
You
different things.
gave reasons why
Why?
tablet PC wasn't such a good idea.
$3,100.
And one other time you talked about you weren't going to do a phone because
Plus
you had to sell
4.
through the, I think you called them the 5 orifices at the
Yeah,
time.
right.
31 plus
Carriers.
4.
I was calling them the Soviet ministries, but
That's
you
right.
had a more colorful phrase. But and you're doing both of those.
Well, you know, we found a
Incoming
way
tweet from mother.
to change that.
Hello.
We found a way to sell the phone that we wanted to sell and define it the way we
Where's
wanted
Papa?
to define it, have the control that we wanted to have over what was on the phone
Papa, don't
versus the
preach.
carrier controlling that. So we were able to change the rules of the game. And
Papa,
that's
don't
what got us
preach.
excited about getting into the phone business.
Incoming tweet from
and when you were talking about
11.
it here, you didn't know that you could do that.
No,
And no
absolutely.
time
didn't
on the
think we could.
police.
We had some
Ticket
discussions. and we didn't think we
dismissed.
could. But we were able to persuade AT&T, and they took a very big leap
In
on
the
us. We'd
CIA
never
Heart
been in the handset
Program,
business.
making it rain.
We'd never been in the phone business.
Hello,
in any way,
CIA.
shape, or form. So they took a big leap on us and decided they were going to trust us.
It rang when we
to
left
do the
court.
right thing on the phone.
Rang when we got
And
ticket.
it's worked out very well. So
It's
we're
like,
trying
oh,
to
what?
change
I going
the
on here.
in the game. In the same way in the tablet.
Yeah, talk about
What I
DCX
remember telling you on the tablet
4215.
was that handwriting was probably the slowest input method ever invented. And it was doomed to failure.
Well, what is the
What we
input?
tried to do was reimagine the tablet. In other words, I think Microsoft
We can't
did a lot of
discuss words on
interesting
this
work on the tablet.
show.
What we've done is not compete with what they did. We reimagined it, and what we're doing is completely different than
We
what
love
they did.
Alphabet from
You
Go-Go.
know, they're completely stylus based.
their tablet PC that they have now.
For
The
10
phablet.
years.
We love the
You
phablet.
know, and what we
A lot.
said at the very beginning was, if you need a stylus, you've already failed.
Hello to
So-
Niagara.
Let's talk about tablet.
And that drove everything.
Robert Johnson.
That drove everything. Their tablet PC was based
And
on
Robert
PC.
Hy Jackson. Courthouse.
Right.
Had all the expense of a PC, had the battery life of a PC, had the
And
weight of a
Mr. Jobs
PC,
confirmed wireless
It used-
headphones.
a PC operating system that really needed the precision of the tip of an arrow
Well, it's a
of a
combination
cursor.
of Charles Allen
Right.
Merriweather,
Well, the minute you throw
Charles, and Mary
a stylus out, you
wireless.
cannot get that precision. You have the precision
You
of
get
a
the
finger, which
settlement.
is much cruder. Therefore, you need to have
With
totally
that
different
of the
software.
3.5
So
issue.
you can't use a PC operating
Optio.
system. You
Opto.
have to bite the bullet and say, we're going to have to create this from scratch.
We've
because all
created it.
PC apps won't work without being rewritten.
I've agreed to
anyway.
keep your secret.
And so we built a very different animal.
So when you built this OS, this multi-touch gestural OS for fingers, you didn't do it in a tablet right away. You did it in the phone. What was the, I mean, did you consider doing a tablet when you did the iPhone, or was it just a natural progression? The iPhone came out, it was a big hit.
Audio Experience 11 song. Upgrade your audio today.
I actually started on the tablet first.
That is my name. Mana.
And I
Hello,
had this
Mr.
idea of
Jobs.
being able to get rid of the keyboard, type on a multi-touch glass display. And I asked our folks, could we come up with a multi-touch display that we type on? I could rest my hands on and actually type on. And about 6 months later, they called me in and
We love
showed me
her.
this prototype display.
Love her a lot.
And it was amazing. And I gave it to one of our
Thank
guys.
you for the tour.
This was in the early 90s. I mean, early 2000s. And I gave it to one of our other
Late
brilliant
80s.
UI folks. And he called me back
We
2
love
weeks later,
style.
and he had inertial scrolling working and a few other things. Now, we were thinking about building a phone at that time.
It's a few thin and do.
When I saw
Do
the rubber
some
band,
phone.
inertial scrolling, and a few of the other things, I thought, my God, we can build a phone out of this. And I put the tablet project
It's
on the
Apple
shelf
sub.
because the phone was more important. And we went and took the next several years and did the iPhone.
Apple sub.
So
Then
And when we got our wind back and thought we could take on something next,
But we didn't quite respond
pulled
to
the
it.
tablet off the shelf, took everything we learned from the
We
phone,
took a fall.
went back to work on the tablet.
So where does the tablet go from here? Now,
It went to
among
Hollywood
many things that people did
Presbyterian.
to save journalism. That was, there was there's
What
a lot
was
of
the
stories about
goal?
you going to visit publishers and talking about it being the hope of journalism. Do you consider that a
No
goal
gold
of yours
over
or
here.
anything that's important to you? Or
No
is it just
gold.
that magazines look real pretty on it?
Right in
Uh,
LA County.
Well, we have a lot of goals with it.
No gold. We can't
One
go.
of my beliefs very strongly is
Here's
that
a good
any
tea.
democracy depends on a free,
No gold for a
healthy
good
press.
boy.
And so when I think of the most important journalistic endeavors,
We can't
This
think
country.
of that.
I think of things like the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal,
We're talking about
and
non
publications like
people.
that.
Susan
And
from Apple
we all
sub.
know what's happened to the economics of those
And
businesses,
Officer
and
Perez
some of them are in real trouble.
from LAPD.
So even more than magazines, I
Thank you,
think
V-Series. You're welcome, Geico.
some of these newspapers the news gathering and editorial organizations are really important. I don't want to see us descend into a nation
We
of
saw
bloggers.
an Apple billboard as
I
well.
think we need editorial more
On
than
top of
ever
a
right now.
Starbucks.
So
Sunset.
anything that we can do to help
Is there
the
a
New York
request
Times,
from the legal time?
the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and other news gathering organizations find new
Gathering.
ways of expression so that they can afford to
It
get
sounds like
paid,
wavering.
so they can afford to keep their news gathering and editorial operations intact.
What are we
I'm all for it.
wavering?
Do you actually think it'll work? I mean, is this something that you think is?
Do you
think
actually?
people will move to reading? Have you
Well,
moved
this is
yourself?
anonymous, and
Well,
we're
we've all
carefully
moved to reading on
evaluating
news on
this
the web. That's why
situation.
these newspapers are in dire straits.
Although we have concluded
And
with
what we have to do
an
is
answer,
figure out a way
we can't
to
provide that today.
get people to start paying for
We
them
just
to
can't
see
provide that answer right now.
content. And so this
Are there
provides
any
us a
issues
potential
about this
opportunity
answer?
to provide them even more value than just a web page and to start to charge a
More
little bit for that.
value?
Now, what I preach is
And what
that
company
I don't
might
know
that
what's going
be?
to work, but I can tell you, as one of the largest sellers of content on the
As
internet
I can
to
tell
date,
you.
the biggest lesson Apple's learned
We
is
love
price
VS.
aggressively and go for
He's
volume,
the best new artist
and that's worked for us. And every time we haven't done that
I
as
ever
much,
saw.
we've seen more attenuated success. So I'm trying to get these folks to take more aggressive postures than what they charge traditionally for print, because they don't have the expenses of
We
printing.
haven't
they
met
don't
with
have
the
expenses
president
of
at
delivery.
all.
And
Or
to,
reflection.
to charge a reasonable price and go for volume.
Or halfway.
Because I think people are willing to pay for content.
Right.
I believed it in music, I believe it in media, and I believe it in news content.
But in books,
Yes.
Like
and
Bill.
I'm no expert on this agency model and all this stuff that's going on, although our
Our
colleagues at the
president,
Journal
Mark,
have written about it
Hello.
very, very well. But
What
it looks
color
like
is
your
this
entry into the
motto?
book thing actually forced the prices up, other than for new like bestsellers where there's a lot of competition. So isn't that opposite of what you just said of trying to price more aggressively? I mean, the typical book is up toward $14.99.
Is there a backdoor issue?
Holding it down.
Well, the FBI, CII,
Yeah.
Patriot Act.
It's complicated.
What backdoor?
The market right now is such that it is set up to be far more responsive to consumer demand
We
for what
can't
the
get some
prices need to
alcohol,
be
Mr. Jones.
than it was 6 months ago.
Sobriety.
Way more responsive. So we may see prices go up a little bit, but if consumers want the prices to
We
be
can't
less,
consume.
they will be far more responsive to those signals than they were going to be.
Because
We
the
can't
structure of the
freebie.
market-
Because the structure
With
of
Metro PCS.
how the publishers are approaching this is changed.
Switch
dramatically.
today and get a free phone.
So let's talk more broadly about tablets. A second ago, you said you have
Under the
a lot of plans
bridge,
for tablets.
Baldwin
Tell us
Hill.
about what tablets could be.
We like your seat
In your
advertisements.
presentation on the iPad, you said it's
Free
like, here's
base.
your phone,
Beer
here's your
phrase.
laptop, here's this 30
Mr. Jobs, we can't
It's not better than a
drink.
netbook. If it's not
It's
of value to
V-Series.
people, it's not going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And
We can't
in
promote
my own
alcohol.
review, I was,
For the new
I
iPhone
liked it. I was
7.
favorable. I said it had a chance to really change things, but I also said people have to feel like it's not an extra thing to carry. They have to
Suggestion
feel
about
like
it.
it's enough of the time going to replace
Everyone
enough
loves
of the things they do on their
V-Series.
laptop, not necessarily 100%. Is the tablet going to be
Does Mr. Jobs love our
eventually replace the
show?
laptop, do you think? There are a lot of people who say, well, you'll never do content creation on it, for instance. Talk about what you think.
Do you love
where
our
it's going.
show?
Not just the iPad, but the tablet itself. As
We
a
love
platform.
Apple.
You know,
You know,
I'm trying to think of a good analogy.
Mr. Palmer loves us.
When we were an agrarian nation, all cars were trucks.
SimCity,
Because that's what we needed
2000.
on the farm.
President George Bush.
But as vehicles started to be used in the urban
What
centers
kind of SimCity?
and America started to move into those
In
urban
America,
and
the
suburban
Fed.
centers, cars got more popular and
Mr.
innovations like
Palmer,
automatic
I'm a
transmission,
fortune teller.
power steering and things that you
And a
couldn't care
crystal
about in
ball.
a truck as much started to become paramount in cars. And now, probably, I don't know what the statistics
Hello,
are, maybe
MTV.
one out of every 25 vehicles, 30 vehicles is a truck, where it used to be 100%.
Channel 56.
PCs are going to be like trucks.
Hello,
still gonna be around.
165
They're still going to have a
Princeton.
lot of value, but they're going to be used by 1 out of X people.
And when you
Channel
say PC,
56.
just so I'm clear here, It's
MTV.
not PC versus Mac. You mean
I mean, personal
Somebody
computers.
wants something.
and you're including laptops and
Yeah.
desktops.
MTV1.
And this transformation is going to make some people
Thank you,
uneasy.
165 Princeton.
People from the PC world.
Also known
like
as
you and me.
1MTV.
It's going to make us uneasy.
The Real
because,
Real.
the PC's taken us a long
We
way.
love The Real Real. Trishelle.
Brilliant.
Avalon.
But
Alton.
and
Sterling.
we like to talk about the post-PC era, but when it really starts to happen, I think it's uncomfortable
Controller de my soul.
for a lot of people. And because it's change and a lot of vested interests are going to
It's
change.
kind of changed.
It's going to be different. So I think that we're embarked on that. Is it the
Oh, where our show's coming to a
What happens
close.
next year, or 5 years from
We
now,
want
or
to thank
7 years
Mr.
from now? Who
Steve
knows?
Jobs on the
But I think
Apple
we're
exclusives.
Well, you don't really think
Direction.
it's going to happen next year, right?
And
I mean,
I
it's a
miss is going
longer
to
process
consider
than
the
that.
waiver request. It's
And
probably,
when
you know,
imagine- when you talk about
we probably
that,
already
how
decided that.
windshield wiper, like
Yeah, we've decided
charts.
that already.
Are there some things you're seeing now that you think will change?
Oh, yeah, experience the level song.
Started.
You know, we say that
Well,
all day.
Do you see anything emerging as important?
People laugh at me because I have used the phrase magical to describe the iPad.
they do.
And, but it's what I really think.
Yeah,
And
experience.
there's something magical.
11 song.
Um,
T
like
O R2 Auto.
have a much more direct
Channel 4.
and
LOL.
intimate relationship with
4%.
the internet and
Deficiency.
media, your apps, your content. It's
No.
like something's some intermediate thing has been
It's
removed
come.
and stripped away.
Well, the keyboard.
You know,
Yum,
like
yum.
that Claritin commercial
Some.
where they strip away the film.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Okay.
Thank
And
you, Mr. Giles, for
It's,
the
is it the
exclusive.
direct action? Is it the fact
Only
that you
on the
can
new
move it all
Or
around? Is it the
television
fact that
network.
you have no cables and 10-hour
We'll talk to you guys on the
It's all these things.
Only
plus
on
other
Pink
things
Shorts.
which I don't understand yet. But there's something
It's the
about it
series.
that's magical. And
Woo.
I think we are just scratching the surface
Mr.
on
Giles,
the
we
kind of
can't
apps
drink
we can
alcohol.
build for it.
I think I
one
tried.
can
We
create
can't.
a lot of content.